big one.
No, I'm talking
This
about
is the slow roll.
I'm talking about an earthquake.
Yeah.
Sounds to me like what they've always said since I've lived out here about earthquakes, right? Which is like, oh, the big one is coming, the fault, and it, I mean the big one is coming, yeah, there's no doubt about that. Well, climate change is not the big one. Down an earthquake, yeah, and just making an analogy because I thought it was interesting the way you put it, and I've had that feeling since I moved here about the earthquakes, which is okay. You keep saying we're due, and then we'll really due, and in the last 10 years, going back almost 10 years, I remember people saying, maybe not in so many words, but letting the people who will kind of could read between the lines know this is going to come in the next 10 years, and now we're almost up to that 10-year point when I heard that, yes, so like, it's the same thing with global warming and the destruction of the planet. Environmentally, is it going to happen? Yes, I believe it is too. 7 years probably not, but possibly. Like we're spinning the wheel on it. It could be 7, or it could be 70, or it could be never, because they figure out how to file it, yeah, or maybe they were, look, they're not always right about how I wish they would stop predicting environmental repercussions, because they've done it a lot and it hasn't happened. Like in 2003, James Hansen, the NASA guy, was like, if we don't completely reverse what we're doing in 10 years, it's too late. Well, it's like 13 years past that deadline, and they're still saying it's not too late, because you can't ever say it's too late yet. It possibly is too late. We possibly already cast the dice, but we don't know. So 7 years, I wouldn't take that bet, but it should be on the table, yeah, that's so. Now as you travel the country, you are like, I remember it's been so long since I toured America. 7-6 years, I'm sorry, 5 years, but I remember, like, I think it was in Indiana gig I would play once a year, and I'd pass a one barn with the Confederate flag on the roof. That was one place, and I could always open with a story. Oh, you guys still let that guy live here? I've been ready. So what do you make of the loggers that live in the areas maybe most impacted by climate change, and they are still in their denial? And why, when you're a farmer, when your job depends on the weather? Well, first of all, they're not all in denial. There is plenty of farmers who are on that page. They're not idiots necessarily there, but the other reasons why I think people are a sort of in the dark about global warming, sometimes it just, if they're in their own news silos, it doesn't get on their radar. They don't report it on Fox News. Yeah, it's just not an issue. It's not like an issue they disagree with. It just really doesn't exist, except it sometimes I've debunkers on, and there are reasonable people like Bjorn Lomborg, who is, somebody I think maybe MSNBC would have him on, and he's not a crazy person, but he has a different view of what's going on with the climate. He doesn't deny that this is happening. He's being just more measured about it. I don't agree with everything he says, but I listen to him, and he's not crazy, that kind of person. They don't, we don't allow that kind of person anymore. You have to be all in on what your team is doing, yeah. So on Fox News, they don't hear about global war, yeah. And then they also are religious. I remember the Oklahoma Senator Jim Inhofe once said he's the guy who brought a snowball, yeah, into Congress once to prove that global warming was false, that you can't write this, yeah. And he said his idea about global warming was, yeah, God's still up there, okay, you can't argue with God's still up there, yeah. It's just not on it. We're just you're playing tennis and I'm playing soccer on a different field, right? And so it's just stuck. And it's, that's what I wonder. How I don't mean any farmers in those regions. If you're a mega person and jury farmer, how do you reconcile what your eyes and ears see in front of you and what you're okay, but what do your eyes and ears see in front of you? They see the same world as it's always been. Yes, sometimes more floods, water is rising, but what floods do come and go, and floods have been here forever. It's in the Bible. So like, how much of that is global warming? My view would be some there are souped up conditions that create more, or blah blah blah, but like, we were going apoplectic here in California for a very long time because it never rained, and then what happened this year? Rained until the people here were saying Good God, would it stop raining right, and in one month-long period we kind of got out of the drought emergency because we don't have the ability to capture it. No, that would make it better, but we stopped our review the reservoirs have water in them. Then the Ohio River is actually a river again. I mean, what I'm saying is it's partly cyclical.